Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sree's Global COVID-19 Show. My name is Sree Sreenivasan, and it's my honor to convene this conversation around various aspects of the pandemic. Today is episode 271, and we're talking about how we are promoting disability awareness during the pandemic. You're going to meet the amazing creators and cast of Social Fitness, comedic mockumentary about the pandemic. It'll compete in the 2021 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. You'll also get to see a little bit of the film. We'll be joined by Maysoon Zaid, comedian and disability advocate, Anna Packman, filmmaker, Shashi Bangera, actor and disability advocate, Liz Simmons from Broad City, Mary Von O, actor, disability advocate, and Anita Hollander, National Chair of SAG-AFTRA Performers with Disabilities. We're so grateful to all of you for being here. Hi, everyone. I'm Sree. Thank you very much for joining us. We're live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Please tag a friend right now. They can watch us live or watch us later. If you've never seen our show before, we've had more than 450 guests from 73 cities and 20 countries, including the chief scientist of the World Health Organization. We are live right now on the channels of Scroll.in and Scroll Global. Our archives are at youtube.com/Sreenet. And we couldn't do this without Rose Horowitz and Vandana Menon, our awesome producers, Rose Horowitz 31 and Vandana_Menon. Please follow them. They're part of our awesome Digimentors team. We produce talk shows like this. We do live conferences, webinars, summits. We do social and digital consulting. If you would like to work with us on anything that's coming up, please get in touch. Check out our website, digimentors.group, or just email me, sree@sree.net. And I'm the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation and the co-founder of Digimentors. We'd love to hear from you where you're watching from. Tell us, and feel free to ask any questions from our amazing panel of guests. And thank you again, everybody, for being here. So first, let's remind you who our guests are. Maysoon, Anna, Shashi, Liz, Mary, and Anita are here, and we're going to be talking to them. They're part of the amazing set of creators and cast of Social Fitness, a comedic mockumentary about the pandemic. It'll compete in the 2021 Easterseals Disability Challenge. And we're going to put them all on screen behind this card so that we can bring them all to you right now. And thank you again, everybody. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us how your day is going. If you're, depending on your time zone, it's either the end of the day or super early where you are. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, let me bring everybody on. Hi, folks.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much for being here. Very grateful to all of you for spending time with us. And I hope you have had a chance to share this with your family and friends, wherever they may be. We're live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Let's start with Anna, who is the filmmaker who put this together and who brought us all together here. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Sree. It's great to see you again, and great to see my amazing cast here. I'm so excited to share this movie with you and with all of your viewers around the world. I'm here in New York City, and I'd like to start off by telling you a little bit about the Disability Film Challenge, actually, to give a little bit of context of why we made this movie and what our overall purpose is with this. So the Disability Film Challenge is a competition that requires teams really throughout the world to get together and to make a movie that is 5 minutes or shorter. And they give us about 5 days to do that in, which is all the time in the world it takes to make a movie. No, it's not a lot of time. And So the challenge was started by Nick Novicki, who is an actor in Hollywood. He's been on Boardwalk Empire, a number of other different shows. And he happens to be a person with a disability. He's a little person. And he started this challenge because he found that he wasn't getting cast in the types of roles he wanted to play. He was getting typecast in a lot of stereotypical roles that you would expect someone with dwarfism to play. And he started to make his own content and thought, wait a minute, there's such a lack of people with disabilities on TV, in the media, in film, and the Hollywood system is really not creating roles for us. Even when roles do exist, a lot of times they are very stereotypical and fall into the camp of either someone you should feel super bad for, some tragic person, and disability is so sad, or they're a super crip doing things that are completely unattainable and probably should just be in a superhero movie anyway. So, the kind of content, that I wanted to make really jived with that mission. And I should say, I myself am a person with a disability. I have cerebral palsy, and the rules of the challenge are that you have to have at least one person with a disability on your team. And so our team, actually 100% of the producers, I have two amazing co-producers, Liz Pritchard and JD Michaels, also identifies people with disabilities. And 70% of the cast, there's 10 people in the cast, it's a big cast for a short film, and 7 out of the 10 have disabilities of various sorts. And we have some token non-disabled friends, our allies, who we love very much.
Some affirmative action for them, right?
Exactly, affirmative action. Yeah, that's Liz Simons. That's why you're here. So yes, that's the film. I would love for everyone to see about a minute of it, and not any more than that. Because what I would really like is actually for everyone to go and watch it. It's available on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV. It's called Social Fitness, and it's just you'll see it for yourself. But I think with the pandemic, hopefully turning a corner soon, and more people getting vaccinated, and more things opening up, I think we're all asking ourselves this question of, well, what's next? What am I going to be able to do now? And wait a minute, do I really want to leave my cozy home where I'm comfortable and go out into the big bad world again? So without further ado.
All right, let's take a look.
Good evening. I'm Harriet Hattington. Tonight, we go behind the scenes of a new type of fitness trend, the fitness it takes to socialize with other humans. Our new Discoveries correspondent, Daphne Diaz, brings us more on this story.
I'm going to take you inside a special class that's helping local residents adjust to life after the end of the COVID-19 pandemic.
So, class, we've already talked about the sourdough thing.
It says BYOB on that side right there. What do you mean I can't bring my own bread? I want to talk to the manager.
How to navigate without social distancing arrows
and proper office etiquette.
Now, on to today's lesson, meeting new people.
Let's just say I found it very easy to adjust to the new normal.
So everyone, you can find that on YouTube. Just search up Social Fitness and the Easterseals Challenge. So what you saw there was about a minute of the film, which is about less than 5 minutes long.
Yeah, and you can also find it. My Twitter and Instagram handle is in the shot here. So if you go and you look me up, annotated, I've pinned it on all my platforms. If you follow me, you will get lots of links to this movie this week. So I would love for you to hear more from the cast, because they are much more interesting than I am.
Well, why don't we go across the panel and ask folks to tell us a little bit about themselves and their role in this movie and this topic of where we are with representation in entertainment. So we'll start with Anita and then go to Shashi after that. Anita, over to you.
Hi, I'm Anita Hollander.
And as it says under there, I'm the national chair of SAG-AFTRA Performers with Disabilities, and an actor and a performer and composer and a lot of other things, and singer and songwriter and all that stuff. And I'm really thrilled with being a part of this because the cast is fantastic. The whole team is really wonderful. Liz Pritchard and Anna Packman and JD Michaels. I mean, it's fantastic. So I'm really excited that we're doing this. And the idea sort of came up as a collaboration. The whole team had ideas about it. And so I really feel that it was a totally collaborative effort. Several writers you'll see in the credits, and several of them are seen on the screen. And to be honest, I have to just say that people with disabilities, particularly performers with disabilities, artists with disabilities, actually many of us did really well this past year. I'm not saying that everybody did well, but I'm saying that I didn't have to go anywhere. I'm an amputee, and I didn't have to go through the snow and the ice and pouring rain to get to my gigs. I did them online. So I did concerts, and I wrote new songs, and I performed them, and free plays, and I did them, and a webisode, and a film. And all of that was done right here next to my piano in my living room. So I have to say that the reason I'm smiling is that I, for myself, had a pretty good year. But I do feel for those who did not have a great year. But I'm very grateful and lucky that for a lot of us, this was pretty good.
Thank you, Anita. Let's go to Shashi.
Hi, I'm Sashi. I'm an actress, and this is like my first time doing this kind of challenge. I mean, I was supposed to do it with Anna last year, but then with COVID and everything, we weren't able to do it. So when she asked me this year, do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. And it's been great to show my talent, to show my skills, because as a person with a disability, I have a physical disability. I have something called osteogenesis imperfecta. So I'm a wheelchair user. So it's really like hard sometimes to get a role, or because they usually typecast for you to be in a specific cast, or be a specific character. And this one is I'm just playing a girl that's would get like a little bit way too comfortable on Zoom, basically. So it's been fun, and it's been great.
Thank you, Shashi. Let's go to Mary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Von Owie. I am the editorial director of Observer and a co-founder of Shrill Films, which is a small production company that seeks to amplify the voices of women and non-binary comedians. I got to be in the writer's room for this, and I got to act, which was amazing. And a little bit about myself, I have epilepsy. And I have epilepsy like nearly 3.5 million people in the country. And yet when epilepsy is represented in film, it is exaggerated, it is often violent. And because of that, it is extremely stigmatized, especially in the workplace. People don't want to work with people that are going to have seizures. People don't always want it. It's kind of a buzzkill. So, that's difficult. But then on top of that, in addition to loving being able to work in a space where I can be pretty loud about having epilepsy, the media has changed quite a bit in that I can't always, I can no longer go to live music. I can't watch certain shows. So much on TV now uses strobe lights. And comes with warnings. Like I can't watch The Mandalorian. I can't watch a host of Disney shows actually that come with warnings that really limit people from even just enjoying a TV show on their couch. So it's really exciting to work in spaces where I can be upfront about having seizures, but also creating more content and more entertainment that I don't have to worry about, that epileptics don't actually have to worry about. So, I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Mary. And I love that you have your pronunciation in your Twitter handle right there. Von Aui right there. That's Von _Aui. So definitely follow her, and Shashi's at Shashi214. Let's go to Liz Simmons. Hi, Liz.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And not that it's Simon's, but it's so
sorry.
No, it's okay. Just wanted to say it for all my fans. So I'm Liz Simons. I do stand up, and I used to work with Anna at our day jobs many years ago, and I'm an ally. Although, interestingly enough, I always, this was something I was diagnosed like 10 years ago officially. I'm what you would call an anosmiac. I don't have a sense of smell. So that scene in the video with the fish in the microwave, like I've been that person that's put fish in the microwave. So I apologize because I didn't know. No one tells you that it smells bad. So that's something about me. But, I was really, really honored to be a part of this because I was in the writer's room like Mary and then also acted in it. And I just as an outsider, I think that it seems a little bit trite, but it's so relevant. Representation matters so many times in movies, especially, I remember growing up, I'm a 90s kid. You would watch these movies and there would be actors, able-bodied actors that were hired to play these parts, and they were always called brave. And I just remember always finding that even then as a young, a teenager and everything, how it's just almost insulting that someone has to be brave to be a person. And I really am proud that that narrative is changing and that people are playing authentic characters. And we still have a ways to go, but I think that Anna's done a great job curating this project and giving opportunities to other people.
Thank you. Your Twitter handle is I am Liz Simon. So it's great to have that there. Liz, can you were mentioning the lack of the inability to smell. That, of course, became a symbol of COVID this year. And so you might have been surprised how many people were in the same boat as you.
Well, no, and it's funny because people would always say that, and people said, "Oh, you must not have a sense of taste." And I go, "I didn't gain 50 pounds in college because I didn't like food." So, yeah, if you fart in front of me, it's just a cute little noise.
Thank you, Liz. Let's go to Maysoon. Hello, Maysoon.
Hi. Wow, you finally got me. Hi, everybody. I'm Maysoon Zayed. For those of you who can't see me, I look like the Lost Kardashian. I have cinnamon skin, long black hair. I'm sitting in front of an evil eye and a bookshelf full of books that I shall never read, but people gave me for free. And I would have never been able to do Easterseals if 500,000 Americans hadn't died this year, because I'm a touring stand-up comic. I'm usually on the road 200 days a year. I've heard about the Easterseals competition for years. I've always wanted to do it, and I've never had the time to. So this was the first time that I could participate. And fun fact, Anna Paquin was at the last public event I went to before the pandemic. The last night I was out, and everyone was trying to hug me, and I wouldn't let anyone come near me because apparently I knew before everyone else did. What I think is really cool about the Easterseals competition is it's not a high school talent show. There's a really high caliber of talent, not just in this clip, but in so many of the others. The writing is exquisite, and it just shows you that when Hollywood says they can't find a disabled actor, they can't find disabled voices for the writer's room, they aren't looking, because the talent exists. Now, there's no other piece in Easterseals that is packed with as much talent, humor, and beauty as this. All the others kind of pale in comparison, but it really does show you how much talent is out there and how little of it is tapped by Hollywood, because we're still just really invisible.
Yeah, this is certainly something we want to talk about. Let's just look at our audience, people watching from around the world. Here is Jonathan Borstein, who's watching from the East Village. He's watched 271 episodes. Thank you, Jonathan. We're so grateful to you. Rajan is here. He's watching from Long Island. And Dr. Sujana Chandrasekhar is here. She says, what a lineup. Good evening, all. And she's an amazing ENT surgeon who hosts with her friend Marina Kurian a show called She's on Call every Sunday on at She's on Call on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Please check them out. They do a terrific medical show. Stefan's watching from Ramsey, New Jersey. Wonderful to be here. Hi, Stefan. Thanks for being here. Paula Kiger's watching from Tallahassee. I love Maysoon's book. That's great. So tell us about the book, Maysoon.
It's called Find Another Dream. It's available on Audible. And if you can't hear, there's a downloadable PDF for anyone who wants to read it. It's a memoir that I wrote way too young because Reese Witherspoon asked me to. And like I said, it's called Find Another Dream.
Thank you. And I'm
Thank
so glad
you, Paula.
Mark is watching from Wantagh, New York on Long Island. And Rose, who is one of our producers who pulled this all together, is watching. And please follow her on Twitter, Rose Horowitz 31. She will be tweeting. Joe Apayo is watching. Hi, Joe. And Feroz is watching from the UAE at 5 a.m. So thank you very
UAE?
good morning.
Comment again, Faraz, which UAE? Bahrain, Dubai, where are you?
Yeah, we'll find out. And Joe is doing a great thing, tagging a friend. Everyone, please do that. Tag them now, and they can join us, or they can watch live. Or
what kind of prize do they get if they're tagged? Like, do we send them like a hat, a T-shirt? Like, what's the prize?
Yeah, we should do that. we're not that organized. Anna, can you talk a little bit about what the Easterseals themselves? There may be people who are not familiar with Easterseals, and then
they're actual seals.
Yeah, and it's Easter, so our timing. This is the timing of it. Yeah, we don't know any. So I'm not religious at all. My family's Jewish. Maysoon's a Muslim. We don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, I know what I'm talking about. I understand bunnies. I do.
Well,
Easterseals. Can I tell them first, and then you tell them anything?
Yes, you tell them first.
So every Easter, on Easter Eve, white seals from Antarctica come and give children eggs while trying to avoid being clubbed to death by people who seek their fur. And we at the Easterseals make entertaining movies to save the seals from being clubbed.
Yes, and that is the reason why we have disabilities, is because in the process of the seals being clubbed, we get in the way. So you're getting some free improv here.
I noticed.
All joking aside, well, Sree, you walk right into this because one, you can walk into this is going to be you knew this was going to be a comedy night, but Easterseals is a great organization. They've been around a very long time, and they've provided all kinds of services for people with disabilities, and have evolved into an advocacy organization that advocates for people with all types of disabilities. And that's one of the things that you'll see in the film too, and you see here on this panel, is you have people, disability can look very different. You can't see my wheelchair, but I use a wheelchair. Shashi uses a wheelchair. Maysoon shakes a little. You might think she's drunk.
Yeah, crooked.
Yeah, she's
I
not
can't
drunk.
hide mine because it's all face. Like, your face looks symmetrical. Mine is like definitely moving incongruently.
So yeah, and then you have people who look like Mary. So there's an incredible amount of diversity in our community. Disability is the largest minority group. 1 in 4 Americans have a disability of some sort, and it's also the only group that anyone can join at any time in their lives. So that kind of being the stats, though, something like 5% of the characters that you see on network TV are written as disabled. And even more so, what's even more frustrating is that out of that tiny 5%, only 2% of the people playing them actually have a disability. So if they ever make a movie about Maysoon's life, like, unless we do it ourselves, they're going to cast the Kardashians in it.
Well, no, they will cast the Kardashians, but I'll have held their head underwater for 3 minutes. But B, I've already made sure that my life story cannot be played by someone who's not Arab and not palsy.
I'm
I guarantee that.
I'm sure Kylie will find it.
Good.
I'm sure Callie will find a way to define herself as all of those things. But, you know, one of the things about the movie that you'll notice when you watch the whole thing is we actually, nothing in the script was written around any particular disability. So during the casting process, none of it was about, you know, what disability does someone have, or even what gender or what ethnicity is someone. Like, all of the characters were just written as different personalities, different ways in which people have dealt with the pandemic. And then in the casting process, you know, it was about who was right for each role, and disability had nothing to do with that, or you know, non-disability. So, you know, a lot of this is about normalizing seeing people with disabilities in all kinds of roles, whether it's behind the scenes. And actually, my hand does make an appearance. If you look closely at the microwave scene, that is not Liz Simons' hand. You know, Tarantino style, that's how he started out. He put his, you know, one body part at a time, and eventually he was in a movie. And so, see, you know, I can't even get cast in my own movie, guys.
Maybe next year. Don't give up. You can.
Maybe next year. I'll talk to the mirror. But, you know, getting back to the topic at hand, you know, one of the things I really wanted to make sure we did was normalize the idea that you could have people in any job, like Anita being a very good news anchor, and you can have people being bad at their jobs, like the teacher who, you know, is in the scene, and you can have people getting married to very attractive men. You could have people going on dates.
Or BJ.
What?
Or BJ.
Or BJ, yeah.
Anna, before we run out of time, I'm hijacking the show. How can people make us win? Because, like, I get that we're the best, we're the funniest, we were the most inclusive. It was a ship that was clearly steered by women, with the little splashes of, you know, BJ and JD and men whose names are initials. But how can people make us win? What can they do so that we win? Because it's really about winning. I don't want a participation trophy. So where should people go?
Okay, well, I got you. Well, first of all, here's how you can make us win. You can watch the movie and you can laugh, because if we make you laugh in the 4 to 4.5 minutes that you spend watching our movie, because you're going to want to watch it through the credits. You're going to want to watch all the credits. I guarantee you. It is so good. But, you know, if we make you laugh, we won already. If we made your day.
No. They have to hit like. Just laughing is not going to butter the biscuit, honey.
Okay.
So,
you're right. Okay, so if you want us to win the contest, which is our secondary goal, watch it again. Make sure all your friends watch it. Make sure all your enemies watch it too, because we don't care. Like, share, comment, get us more press appearances by Monday. Let's see what else. Email everyone you know. Put it on your LinkedIn. Put it on your hack into your friend's Twitter, especially if they're an influencer.
Yes, I think that's you know, Anna said making sure that people laugh is part of this, and that's so cool. I want to ask Anita a question about your portion of SAG-AFTRA, the work that you're doing, performers with disabilities. Give us a sense of how long that's been happening and why that exists.
Great. SAG-AFTRA is Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. So it's two huge industry unions that merged. Actually, it's just the anniversary of it was today. And the Performers with Disabilities Committee is a national committee of performers with disabilities from all over the country, of course. And it was the first Performers with Disabilities Committee was started in 1980. So we're talking about 40 years. And I was there. I sort of got involved with it in '83. So, but I was already advocating for people for performers with disabilities, like in 1977. So, but at any rate, we have watched. We've been pushing this boulder up a giant mountain for all these years, And I'm really glad to see a new generation of people fighting the fight and taking the boulder and getting with us and pushing a little harder. And what I do as the chair of the committee of all these talented people, which Maysoon is a member of the committee, and is to keep working on initiatives that increase authenticity, accessibility, and accuracy. And what we negotiated into a contract in 2010 was a task force with the Hollywood producers. And I also work with the Broadway producers and regional theater producers. So I work in the theater as well for more inclusion. And what has happened slowly and painfully through the years is that in the last few years, we've tripled our employment in the industry. And now it's nowhere near what it should be, but we have a lot more series regulars, performers with disabilities who are actually playing roles in the leads, and Maysoon is one of them. And one thing I wanted to mention is that what I encourage performers with disabilities to do, particularly ones like me who've been around, but is to make your own work. And that's why this Disability Film Challenge is so great. Maysoon has made her own work. I've written 2 solo musicals that have toured the world. And it's that we have to show people what it is that we do. And that's what I encourage people to do. And as that's happened more and more, you're seeing more representation, but we're not in any way near the representation when you think of the percentage of people with disabilities in this country. And that's what we're working towards. And that may have been mentioned when my internet just pooped out in the middle.
Can I just piggyback?
What?
Go ahead.
Could I piggyback what Anita
Yes, please,
is saying?
Maysoon.
You should absolutely invest in yourself, but also be realistic about it. It's very expensive creating your own content. It's one of the things I found most frustrating about the fact that we do need to tell our own stories. We do need to create our own content, but it can get very costly. So absolutely invest in yourself, but do not work for other people for free. It is really important for disabled performers not to feel like they have to provide free labor, because if they don't, they won't be included. They need to be paid equally. And people like Anita are guaranteeing that, as you know, a union boss, our very own Jimmy Hoffa. But I mean, I worked for Anna for free, and that's totally different because this was like a collective fun competition. It wasn't too time consuming, and she made it extremely accessible for all of us. And I think that this is like a revolutionary time in disability creation, because it would be really hard for us to get a rehearsal studio that was accessible to all of our different disabilities, whether it was lighting or ramps and stuff like this. And it's amazing that this has opened so many doors, but I just want to caution people that making your own stuff is super, super, super expensive. So you should do it. You should work on it. You should be ready to show it to people when they want to look for it. But don't work for free, and be prepared to spend a lot of money.
So I want to respond to that real quick, if I may. So I agree completely. I think, definitely know your value, but I think that you can create content and it doesn't have to be super expensive. My day job is I work in marketing. I work specifically in digital marketing. And so much of what is out there now, I think content is being redefined. So if you're thinking about it in terms of like a big, Hollywood studio film, yes, you're not going to create the Avengers on $100 budget, but I created this film and spent less than $100 in cash. Mm. So, I think it is very possible because technology has evolved. So, I'm on my laptop, which is the old school technology. That's why I look like I'm in a hostage video right now. If I was doing this on my, cell phone, my cell phone shoots 4K video. I can make a film that you can put on the big screen with my cell phone if I knew how to shoot better. So, this film was shot entirely on people's cell phones. And I would say, the best thing that you can do if you want to make content and you want to make it on a handheld device and you want to make it from home is do what I did and become really good friends with really talented editors. Or use Premiere Pro, because everything that we did, everything that you see, a lot of it is editing magic. And if you think about the way like some of your favorite Hollywood movies are made, Lord of the Rings was not shot with like a million people running up like a volcanic mountain. It's all shot on green screen anyway. Mm-hmm. And if you can buy a green screen on Amazon for $40, if you buy it on sale and you give yourself enough lead time to get it shipped. But you can have this technology that's right in your hand anyway. Some of the accessories you need, I'm using a ring light that I paid $20 for over the summer on Amazon.
But if you didn't know those editors, this would cost you thousands.
Yeah, of course.
I'd love to jump in on that, because I just want to say that because I did theater all these years, I've been touring the show that I wrote, the first show, Still Standing, for over 25 years. And I to be very honest, I basically wrote a show that I tried out live in a cabaret, New York cabaret, with people performing with me. But then I recorded everything onto just a recording. And in those days, it was a cassette, but it changed to a CD and then a flash drive. I can go anywhere with the show. And I use a stool. If there's a piano available, I use it. But if there's not, just give me a stool to sit on, and I can do an hour-long show, because I wrote all of it and I produced myself and I directed myself. If you could, it's possible that if you're really passionate about something, I spent very little money because I didn't have any money. So,
but did you have to pay for travel and hotels and renting the space?
That was the thing. They paid. The people I'm performing for, they paid for it. So
can I make a suggestion? I think that, in my experience, I've done a lot of fundraising for things that I made, whether with short films or other videos. And a huge problem that I think this community has is that we don't have enough investors.
Yeah.
And it would be, let's offset these costs. If you want to help out, please do. If you're a producer, this is something to get involved with. And there are many programs, but really it shouldn't always be out of pocket. We shouldn't be asked to work for free for the sake of exposure. And it really puts us in a predicament here, because we want that exposure. We want that representation. Yeah, but why do creatives have to work for free? So I think a real challenge is finding people within the industry who are willing to invest in us. And that is a hurdle. And I think that's a great way for people to become more involved, is help us fund these projects, because they are worthwhile projects.
Folks, I just want to say hello to everyone who's watching, who just tuned in. You are watching an episode of Sree's Global COVID-19 show. I'm Sree Sreenivasan with an awesome set of speakers here. We're discussing a film called Social Fitness that they're all part of for the Easterseals Challenge, the Disability Film Challenge. And we are talking about how folks with disabilities are represented in entertainment. I did want to point out, we had a comment earlier about access to this show for people who are deaf, and the issue with closed captioning. So if you're watching on Facebook, there is automatic closed captioning. I know that is not always perfect, and certainly not enough. We did an entire episode on how the deaf are handling the pandemic, and we had an ASL interpreter on screen. And so we appreciate that question, and we will continue to be monitoring how we can cover this issue as best as we can. I also wanted to just say that we had Anna and some friends on this show on episode 141. We're episode 271, so that tells you how long ago this was. And we were marking the 30 years of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And Amy Padnani, who edited a New York Times special report about the ADA, was with us, as was Anna and some other fantastic folks. And we realize, when you watch all of this, that a lot of the rights that we have now and the situation we're in now, they're not ideal, but a lot of people fought very hard to make them possible and have brought us where we are. We talked about representation. I remember for at least me, the first time I saw in recent years something to do with cerebral palsy was when RJ Mitte was showcased on the show Breaking Bad. He's an actor with CP, and I know that got a lot of attention. We heard earlier from Mary that she has epilepsy, and I wonder if there are examples for each of you to just discuss things that, maybe roles that you have seen that inspired you or make you feel like this is something that helped you in this journey. And then I'll ask Liz how we can all be better allies. So Mary?
Sure. I think there's a film about the singer from Joy Division. And oftentimes, if there is any sort of presentation of epilepsy, it's violent. People die, which is actually a problem in epilepsy. There's SUDEP, which is sudden death in epilepsy. But usually that's how someone dies or how someone drowns or how someone gets into a car accident and kills somebody. It's never, a petite mal seizure. It's always a very loud, dramatic, violent experience that is just wildly inappropriate and really exaggerates, what can happen, especially when someone lives with these seizures every day.
Thank you, Mary. Let's talk to Shashi. Shashi, where and how have you been inspired when watching entertainment?
Well, growing up, I haven't really, I don't think I can remember seeing someone like me on TV. so that I was like, why can't I be in it? So that's kind of pursued me to pursue acting in a way, because like any movies growing up I would see, then a miracle would happen and they would get out of the chair and be able to walk. And I'm like, that's not really representing me, So I haven't seen it for myself. So I figured if I haven't seen it, might as well try to change that narrative and try to be part of it and show people that I'm here, That's in a sense, because I remember when I first started, this casting director said, "Oh, you did great. You know what? You could be like the next, like the kid in Glee that he's in a wheelchair too." And I was like, "No, he's acting to be in a wheelchair. He's the lead guy." So I'm like, I can't be like him. I have to be like me. So.
And I we wish you the very best in your career, so that a few years from now, when someone's asked, you could be the inspiration for that young boy or girl who is watching. Let me ask that question of Anita. Where have you seen kind of landmark representation over the years?
Well, right after I had cancer in my leg the first time, I was at Carnegie Mellon University training, and I auditioned to go to the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art in London, LAMDA. And I thought, oh gosh, well, they will see the brace. I can't avoid it. They're going to see this brace on my leg. So I was going to go do the audition and know that they're going to see it because the stage was here and their eye level was right at the place where the brace was. So I did my audition. And then afterwards, I just thought it was important to tell them that I had the brace because I had just recovered from cancer. And I knew, okay, that's it. I'm not going to. And they said to me, oh, one of our greatest actresses in England right now is Anna Calder-Marshall, and she has a withered leg. Basically, she had something with her leg and walked with a distinctive walk, and she was getting. And I had seen her. I had seen shows with her in it, and didn't know that she had this thing. And they only chose 4 women for that year of LAMDA, and I was one of them. And I thought, all right, then, this is not going to be a problem. I'm going to be able to do this. And so I guess for me, that was one of the first experiences I had post-disability, that we can do this. We have to put ourselves out there and try and just and go for it. And you just never know. And I think the United Kingdom has been ahead of us in a lot of ways over the years. BBC has an actual mandate that you have to hire a percentage of actors with disabilities. And so we all often look to them for that. And I was supposed to do my new show in London last fall in September. Didn't happen, but hopefully that will happen. But it's pretty amazing. That inspired me to say, okay, this is not going to be a problem. I'm just going to go ahead.
Any American institution along those lines? You said nobody's doing that, but is anybody close to it, or anybody really encouraging it? Any of the streamers?
Yes. Well, that was a while ago. And Theater Breaking Through Barriers in New York City off Broadway has been doing great work with performers with disabilities, and they've generated so many new plays this year, and worked with established playwrights and also inspired new playwrights. And they've done about 4 series of playwrights intensives this year during COVID online, and a lot of us have written or directed and/or performed in these intensives. And I think it's tbtb.org. You can look that up. And since I'm forgetting a lot of things, you can always go to anitahollander.com and find the rest of them, because there's a whole bunch of really great organizations now, and big regional theaters like the Goodman Theater is doing great with diversity of all kinds, and are including performers with disabilities as well. And there is the National Disability. Anyways, it started with Mickey Rowe. He has stepped down since as artistic director, but the theater is still going. So there's a lot of new initiatives, a lot more going on now. And Family Theater, PHAMALY down in Denver, also doing really magnificent work. So, and television-wise, we've got a great guy who's president of the Casting Society of America, Russell Boast, who has put hundreds of performers with disabilities on tape so that casting directors can't say that we don't exist. And he's the president of the Casting Society of America. So he's a great person. So we have some great allies. The Ruderman Foundation is a great ally. And my vice chair, Danny Woodburn, who you might remember on Seinfeld, a little person, he works tirelessly with me. We work on 2 different coasts. He's in LA and we're in New York. And I think he just won an award actually for his work in advocacy, because he goes back to 1982, back when we were getting all this started.
Mickey from Seinfeld, right?
That's right. Oh, he'd be so happy to hear you say that. He's a great.
Well, I'm a big fan, so please say hello. Maysoon, let's go to you. Meanwhile, Apollo says this is an awesome show, and Jonathan says I rely on captioning for words my hearing aids can't sort. Thank you, Jonathan. Maysoon, where have you been inspired?
Well, I mean, Hollywood is still absolutely disgraceful. So when we are seeing images of disability, it's way too often white men, cisgendered, straight white men. And as Anna mentioned, we are seldom being played by disabled actors. So one of the things that doesn't inspire me is the fact that the grotesque casting of non-disabled actors to play visibly disabled on TV is still happening. It needs to stop. I'm really just flabbergasted by the fact that after 20 years of doing this work, we're really not making traction. And you still have people like Freddie Highmore on TV pretending to be disabled. It's offensive. It's cartoonish. It needs to stop. Who's killing it? Lauren Ridloff from Walking Dead, Natasha O'Fell, Ryan J. Haddad on The Politician, Jillian Marcato on The L Word, Jerry Jewell, Marlee Matlin, Chris Burke. They're like the OG disabled, like gangsters of sitcoms and television. Ali Stroker winning Tony Awards and doing a Lifetime Christmas movie. And I'm following in her limpy, lowly footsteps to do a Lifetime Christmas movie too. And I really wish that disabled people would stop making excuses for people casting non-disabled actors to play disabled. And I wish more people did what Anna did, which was cast disabled roles, cast roles that are not written as disabled with disabled actors, just putting us in neutral roles. So like my gig on General Hospital, the lawyer's not written as disabled. She's disabled because I am. There's no avoiding it. It's visual. You can see it. But she wasn't written as disabled. I think we need to see more of that. Ryan O'Connell gets a shout out, even though he's a white boy. He's revolutionizing stuff on Netflix. So I clap for him too. And not Daryl Till Mitchell, because he blocked me on Twitter, so he can just go roll with it.
All right, Liz, can we talk a little bit about where you can be an ally, where all of us can be an ally?
Well, of course, and I'm constantly learning. I mean, I think that we talked this crew. We talked the other night. One of the things is I remember Shashi mentioned how kids have a natural curiosity, and I think one of the things is as an adult, sometimes I'm uncomfortable approaching people because I don't always know how to deal with it, or just that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you see things, people aren't always comfortable about talking about it. So I think the key is just to talk to people and learn more about it and be curious in a way that's genuine. I have a day job, but like I said, I do stand up. And one of the things that's so cool, what I love about doing stand up is that you don't see look, there's some very beautiful people that do stand up, but there's as Maysoon knows. But I think about the people I've met who are disabled in the comedy world, in the stand-up comedy world, and it's just such an interesting, that's what they are, and that's a part of their jokes and in their comedy, and it's kind of like Mason, like it's who they are, and that's what makes it great. And I think that just giving more people opportunities. And I remember Nita was talking too, like what's been really interesting about the pandemic is we can do work from home. And that's why, like, I get Maysoon's point about things being expensive, but also like you could just tape yourself talking online and there's someone might watch it. So we have these opportunities from home that I think are really, really cool. And I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I think the key is I'm doing the best I can. And my friendship with Anna, I've known Anna for probably 10 years or more. And that's helped me. So just talk to people who are different from you.
Thank you. Apollo says, I want you all to be successful. Can you imagine how much better our world would be to see you and others like you, how much more people would have to feel? It's positive gain to me. So thank you very much, Apollo. We're almost out of time. I want each one of you to give us a final thought. And of course, we want to promote the film again. So Anna, we'll start with you. Thank you all for being here and for giving us your time. Let's start with Anna.
Yeah, thank you. So Apollo, first of all, please send that message to Lauren Michaels, because we need to be an and the final thought that I would leave everyone with is there's a bigger reason that we haven't even talked about of like why this is so important. So it's not just about any one of us individually. It's not about any one specific show, but in America, and I think in many places around the world, people form their opinions about everything based on what they see in the media. And that's why, the area of disability advocacy I'm most passionate about is the advocacy for better representation in the media. It's because it influences literally everything else. So, Maysoon mentioned on General Hospital, she plays a lawyer. And, people need to understand that, yes, people with disabilities can be lawyers. People with disabilities can be lots of different professions, so that when anyone is trying to pursue their goals, regardless of whether they want to be an actor, an actress, a writer, a barista, an executive, or really anything, that people, see the ability first and see them for people, and don't focus on like, oh, you probably can't do this because this would be super hard for you. But, just whatever assumptions you have, like lay them aside, get to know the person, and then, make your judgments.
Thank you, Anna, and everyone, please follow Anna at Annotated. And just a reminder, that's the film Social Fitness, a comedic mockumentary about the pandemic, and it's competing in the 2021 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. And everyone should find it on her Twitter feed, all her socials, or search for it on YouTube and watch it and share it, and so we can help them win. Now let's go to Mary, who's going to give us her thoughts.
Yes, so I already did my rant on investing in us, in hiring us. But I also think that if you're going to give these disabilities representation really isn't enough. So if you can't put us in the writer's room, at least talk to somebody with this disability before you create the character. Because, you're not really doing us any favors if you represent the disability, but in a way that is just misconstrued and just furthers these misconceptions about the disabilities. So do your research, hire us, and don't create these misconceptions, because it really is only deterring us and keeping us from accessing media and accessing the industry.
Thank you very much. And you can find Mary on her Twitter feed, which is at Von Awi _Von_Awi. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Shashi.
Yeah, I mean, like what everyone else is saying is, give us an opportunity, because we are talented. Don't make an assumption that, if we have a visible disability, we are not be able to do something. Give us a chance. And talk to us, come to us, learn what a person with a disability does, because there's a lot of misconceptions of misinformation about how we are. Do we go to school? Do we have a job? And give us a role that's not just specifically for a person that's we need a person in a wheelchair. No, we need a person that's a lawyer. Okay, give us a chance to do that, or even a doctor. There's people with disabilities that are doctors. Show that on TV. So.
Thank you, Shashi. We really appreciate it. Let's go to Anita.
Yes, I would say that a lot of the people watching may not have any power to do anything about casting us or giving us a job, but I will say you do have a power, and that is in social media, online, or anywhere online. Networks and film studios actually do read your comments and your responses and your likes. So if you see authentic portrayals, and you can find out, Google the actor and see if they're, you'll see articles about them. And if you find out they're authentic, put in the loves and the likes and write comments like, this is the kind of thing we should be seeing, because they're reading that. Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, CW, they're reading this stuff. And particularly, film needs to hear this. The film people really need to hear this. But in anything, but if you see inauthentic, and again, I keep a watchdog report to see which is authentic and isn't. And if you Google, you can usually find out if an actor's playing someone in a wheelchair and his IMDb is him standing there looking great on the red carpet, that's not authentic. So write something, dislike it, say, I'm sure you could find an actor with a disability, because 9.9 times out of 10, they probably could. So you have that power. And every letter you write or every comment you write represents 20,000 or 30,000 people who won't write that comment. So that's what I would ask for. And by the way, my Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, it's Anita Hollander. You can always find me. Except on Facebook, there's two Anita Hollanders. One is in Holland, the country of Holland, and one is here in the United States. I don't have any two people wooden shoes. It's just me.
All right, and AnitaHollander.com as well. I'll just read this note from Apollo, who says, I'll send it to Lorne Michaels of SNL fame on Twitter, and we'll CC you and Sree. So thank you for that, and let's go to Maysoon.
So definitely piggybacking what Anita said, boycott shows with inauthentic representation. If you know that the actor playing the disability is not disabled, boycott it, don't watch it, complain about it, drag it on Twitter. equally amplify the work of disabled creators. We get so few chances that we need folks to really hype it up and show networks that when you do use disabled talent and you are inclusive, we do have the buying power of the entire country of China. It pays off. And Sree, I really hate to do this to you, but every single creator, no more excuses. Do not do shows on disability without live captioning or an ASL interpreter. And like, I'm working on it, doesn't make any sense. This is a 24-hour working on it. This should have been solved. It never even occurred to me I would be on here without live captioning. So I am throwing the gauntlet your way and saying, I'm really proud of you for making 80,765 shows. But as of today, no more excuses. Stop excluding deaf people.
Thank you. And I will point out that on Facebook, it is live captioned. So
live captions don't really work, especially when you have disabled performers who have such varied ways of speaking. Like if you go back and watch my live captioning, it basically says blah, 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 blah. So no more excuses. Get those funders to get you an ASL interpreter.
Thank you very much. But no, I will tell you that we've also been told that an ASL interpreter is not enough because there are people who don't know ASL. So these are the things
well,
that
it's better than nothing, which is what you have right now.
Right. Thank you. And Holy Space Monkey agrees with you. So and Jigger says
they're all yelling at me at Twitter right now.
Jigger says this was a great discussion, and we have a hello from Texas. And Jonathan says great show. Jonathan's one of those people who relies on the captioning that we are able to provide. Rahadyan says blessings to all on this show. Please stay safe and strong and healthy. Let's go to Liz.
Liz.
All right, just my last thing. Mine will be a little bit different perspective. I think that for anyone watching out here who wants to be creative, I always say this: don't be afraid of failure. For so many years, I was, so I didn't try. And I think that, like we were saying, the greatest thing about this time right now is you really have different avenues. And if anyone's watching, I mean, this might sound a little bit Pollyanna, but you look at all these amazing performers who are all so different. And my nephew, who showed up briefly earlier, kind of in the background, he's 6 and he was born without a belly button. And it's such a little thing, but when he sees people that look different, he gets so excited because he doesn't, he feels like, cool, people are different like me. And it's such a little thing, but it's so important. And it almost gets me like the shivers, because I think the work people are doing to show the young children, and these kids are being raised with so much compassion, it's awesome. So I'm just so proud to be a part of this. And if you're out there and you're afraid to try, just do it, because if you fail, who cares? That's how you learn.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you for being a great supporter and ally of the folks who are here and everyone who's in the community. Jonathan says, I have 2 live captionings running. They did not agree on certain words. One had sudden, and the other had southern. And that captures the problem that we have been discussing for sure. So thank you very much, everybody. A reminder why we're here and what we're covering. The show is called Social Fitness, a comedic mockumentary about the pandemic. And we met the amazing creators and cast of this. Maysoon, Anna, Shashi, Liz, Mary, and Anita. Anna, I want to thank you very much for bringing us all together and for having us all here. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll say goodbye.
Thank you, Sree.
Thank you so much.